The strongest sorcerer in the world was never supposed to lose. That is what everyone believed. His enemies believed it. His students believed it. Even Gojo Satoru believed it. For years, Jujutsu Kaisen built him up as an unstoppable force of nature, a man so powerful that the balance of the entire world shifted simply because he was born. And yet, the story was quietly telling us something very different. Long before Shibuya, long before Sukuna, long before the battle that shocked the anime and manga community, the signs were already there, hidden in his childhood, hidden in the history of the Six Eyes, hidden in the role he was forced to play. Because Gojo's greatest weakness was never his power. It was the burden that came with it. And once you see the pattern, you realize something chilling. Gojo Satoru may have been doomed from the very beginning. In most stories, power is freedom. The stronger a character becomes, the more control they gain over their fate. But Jujutsu Kaisen does something different. It asks a disturbing question. What if absolute power is actually a prison? What if becoming the strongest doesn't save you, but isolates you from everyone around you? Gojo's story is often viewed as the tale of an unbeatable sorcerer, a mentor, a revolutionary, a hero. But beneath that image lies a tragedy that many fans overlook. Because from the moment Gojo was born, his life stopped being his own. And that changes everything. To understand why Gojo was doomed, we need to go back centuries before his birth. The world of Jujutsu Kaisen revolves around balance. Whenever darkness grows stronger, the world naturally creates forces to oppose it. Few people realize that Gojo was not simply born powerful. His birth itself was an event, a cosmic correction. The combination of the Six Eyes and limitless technique had not appeared in generations. When it finally happened again, the entire Jujutsu world reacted. Assassins changed their plans. Curses altered their behavior. Power structures shifted overnight. Think about that for a moment. Before Gojo could speak, before he could choose who he wanted to become, the world had already decided what he was. A weapon, a symbol, an answer to a problem he never created. And that burden would follow him for the rest of his life. Most viewers see Gojo's confidence and assume he enjoys being the strongest. But there is something most fans never noticed. Gojo rarely talks about strength as a gift. Instead, strength constantly creates distance. As a child, other people feared him. As a teenager, other sorcerers couldn't understand him. As an adult, almost nobody could stand beside him. This is one of the darkest themes in Jujutsu Kaisen. The stronger Gojo becomes, the more isolated he grows. His power solves problems, but it also destroys connections. Because how can anyone truly relate to someone who exists on an entirely different level? What happens next is shocking when you examine his life closely. Nearly every meaningful relationship Gojo forms eventually ends in loss. And this pattern repeats again and again. Many fans view Toji as the man who nearly killed Gojo. But his role is far more important than that. Toji represents the first major warning in Gojo's story. At the time, Gojo believed strength alone could solve everything. He was talented, arrogant, untouchable. Then Toji shattered that illusion. For the first time in his life, Gojo faced someone who exposed his limitations. Someone who proved that overwhelming power was not the same as understanding reality. The encounter changed him forever. Most fans focus on the moment Gojo awakened. But few people focus on what he lost. After defeating Toji, Gojo became stronger than ever. Yet that transformation pushed him even further away from ordinary people. His humanity started giving way to something larger, something almost godlike. And becoming a god is often the first step toward becoming alone. If there is one moment that sealed Gojo's fate, it wasn't a battle. It was a friendship. Suguru Geto was the only person who truly understood him. Not because he matched Gojo's power, but because he shared his perspective. For a brief moment, Gojo wasn't alone. Then everything fell apart. The tragedy of Geto is more than a character arc. It's the destruction of Gojo's last equal. After Geto's fall, something inside Gojo changed. He continued smiling, continued joking, continued acting carefree. But beneath that mask was a growing loneliness. The truth is far darker than most fans realize. Gojo didn't lose his best friend. He lost the only person capable of seeing him as a human being rather than a weapon. And after that loss, his future became much darker. Infinity is one of the most iconic abilities in anime, but it also contains hidden symbolism. Infinity creates an invisible distance between Gojo and everything around him. Nothing can touch him, nothing can reach him, nothing can truly get close. At first, this seems like the perfect defense. But symbolically, it's tragic. Because infinity reflects Gojo's entire existence. People admire him, depend on him, fear him, but very few can genuinely connect with him. His greatest power is also a metaphor for his greatest curse. This changes everything about his character. Because Gojo isn't simply protected by infinity. He's trapped inside it. The Shibuya incident is often remembered as one of the greatest arcs in modern anime. But hidden beneath the action is a devastating revelation. Gojo was never defeated because he lacked strength. He was defeated because he cared. Think about it. The villains knew they couldn't overpower him directly. So they attacked his humanity. They used civilians. They used emotions. They used memories. Most importantly, they used Geto. The prison realm only worked because Gojo hesitated. Because despite everything, he was still human. Few people realize how important this moment is. For years, the world treated Gojo as an invincible weapon. But Shibuya revealed the truth. The strongest sorcerer was still vulnerable to grief. Still vulnerable to love. Still vulnerable to loss. And that vulnerability became the key to his downfall. Gojo often talks about changing the Jujutsu world. Creating a better future. Protecting the next generation. On the surface, these goals sound noble. And they are. But there is another layer. Gojo carries responsibility for everyone around him. His students. His allies. The future itself. This burden grows heavier every year. Because whenever something goes wrong, people expect Gojo to fix it. After all, he's the strongest. The problem is that no human being can carry that expectation forever. Eventually, even giants collapse. And Gojo was carrying far more than anyone realized. Now we arrive at a fascinating possibility. What if Gojo's defeat was inevitable the moment he became the strongest? Not because Sukuna was stronger, not because of bad luck, but because Jujutsu Kaisen's world rejects imbalance. Throughout the series, extreme power always creates consequences. Whenever one force becomes too dominant, another force emerges to challenge it. Gojo's existence disrupted the natural order. His power became so overwhelming that the story itself began building toward a correction. This theory explains something interesting. The stronger Gojo became, the more dangerous the world around him became. Powerful curses emerged. Ancient threats awakened. Sukuna returned. Almost as if reality itself was responding. Almost as if balance demanded a price. Here is the revelation that transforms Gojo's entire story. Gojo was never the protagonist. He was the protector of the protagonist's world. And characters like that rarely survive. Think about the role Gojo serves. He protects the students. He shields society. He stands between humanity and disaster. But eventually, that shield must break. Otherwise, the next generation can never grow. This is why so much of Jujutsu Kaisen focuses on Yuji, Megumi, Yuta, and others. Gojo's dream was never to save the world himself. His dream was to create people strong enough to save it without him. That means his story was always moving toward sacrifice. The tragedy isn't that Gojo failed. The tragedy is that he understood this better than anyone. Deep down, he knew he couldn't remain the center forever. And yet he kept fighting anyway. When fans discuss Gojo's fate, the conversation often centers around power scaling. Who was stronger? Who made mistakes? Who should have won? But perhaps those questions miss the bigger picture. Gojo's story was never really about strength. It was about isolation, responsibility, loss, and the impossible burden of being treated as something greater than human. From the moment he was born, people saw a weapon, a miracle, a solution. Very few saw a person. That is why his story feels so tragic. Because despite possessing unimaginable power, Gojo spent much of his life searching for something simple. Connection, understanding, someone who could stand beside him. And in many ways, he never truly found it. That may be the saddest irony of all. The strongest sorcerer in history was ultimately defeated by the very thing he could never overcome: loneliness. So what do you think? Was Gojo truly doomed from the moment he inherited the 6 eyes and Limitless? Or could there have been a future where he escaped the fate that seemed to follow him throughout his entire life? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because the answer might completely change how we view the strongest sorcerer in Jujutsu Kaisen.